Welcome back to our Boston Bar First Nation Housing Policy series. In this video, we are going to explain how band-owned rental housing works under the policy. We will talk about tenancy agreements, rent, and some of the basic rules that come with living in a rental unit. To begin, we need to discuss who can apply for this rental housing. In order to apply for the Boston Bar First Nation rental housing, that individual must be a First Nation member and must be at least 18 years old, and must provide evidence of enough income to support rental payments. The policy also says a person cannot owe rental arrears and generally cannot have been evicted from rental housing in the previous 2 years. For those who are curious, a rental arrear is when money is owed because a required payment was missed. So, make sure you are up to date on all your payments. Only individuals who meet these preliminary requirements will move forward for consideration. A rental unit under the policy is defined as a home that is owned, leased, administered, or controlled by the BBFN, and occupied or available to be occupied under a tenancy agreement. That means the person living there is not simply staying there informally. They are supposed to have a written agreement with the band. But you might be wondering, what is a tenancy agreement? A tenancy agreement is better understood as a rental agreement. It is a written agreement between the Boston Bar First Nation and the tenant occupying the rental unit. That sets out the obligations a renter must follow during their rental period. Before a tenant moves in, the housing department is supposed to meet with the tenant in person to explain the agreement, the rules, the charges, and the consequences for breaking the policy or the agreement. The agreement is supposed to be signed before the tenant occupies the unit, and one copy is supposed to be kept by the housing department, and one copy is given to the tenant. If a tenancy agreement and this policy conflict, the provision that better protects health, safety, and housing stock shall apply. Procedural fairness and the lawful administration of housing shall apply, subject to any other applicable laws. So, what should be included in the tenancy agreement? As per this policy, there are several informational requirements. Now bear with me for a second as we list some of these. All tenancy agreements must set out the rental unit address, the tenant names, and all of the authorized occupants. In addition, it will outline the rental amount, the payment method, utility obligations, the start date, and other incorporated policies. It will also outline some inspection requirements, the repair obligations, and the overall termination process. This is important because the tenancy agreement is meant to clearly set out who is living there and what the rental obligations are. The tenancy agreement shall be renewed on an annual basis. That means the tenancy is not supposed to be left vague. It is supposed to be reviewed and renewed, so the rules, the rent, and the records stay current. Now, let's discuss rent. Rent is due on the first day of each month and is required to be paid by all who have been named in the agreement. It must also be paid through a lawful income source, like employment income, pension, disability benefits, or income assistance. The policy also addresses those tenants who do receive social assistance, which, as described above, is a lawful means of income. However, it is important to highlight that if the supported portion does not cover the full amount, the tenant is still responsible for the rest. So, let us review what we have learned in this video. The main message is that band-owned rental housing is meant to operate through clear written tenancy agreements and regular rent payments. Tenants are supposed to know the rules, know the rent, and renew their agreements annually. In the next video, we will explain why rent matters so much, not just for one household, but for the housing system as a whole.